Good morning. Good morning. You did it, man. Look, I didn't do anything. Okay, a tweet and a blog post are not anything, right? Like I want to see source code. It's I got a text from my mom saying, you got AMD to open source stuff, and I'm like, they didn't open source anything. They said they were going to, right? They told me they were going to multiple times. It's like you can't just have a bunch of repos and say, oh, well, the source is there. Like, no, are you working on this as an open source project or not? Right? It's like open source is like a selling point. It's a checkbox. Their main driver of decisions is not GPU quality, it's PR. We will praise AMD when they actually release source code, not when they release a statement. Right? A statement is PR. Source code is source code. Like they do it for PR, not for like, oh wait, we want this to be open source so it can be better. And you can say, oh, I'm being too harsh on them. Well, let me see the code. Right? I'll give praise when praise is due. But until I see code, PR is actually bad, and I'll use the same argument that I usually use for, George, why don't you do more in your comma marketing to reassure people that comma devices are safe? No, I want people to think at every moment that this comma device is going to kill them, right? And then maybe they'll pay attention. Believing that something is safe is the opposite of safety. Saying this is super dangerous, pay attention, is actually much better for actual safety. So the same thing's true here. The usefulness of what they open source is going to depend entirely on the spirit in which they're doing it. If the spirit in which they're doing it is PR, what they open source is going to be dog shit. If the spirit in which they're doing this is, wait a second, if we actually open source things and get reproducible build processes, get these GPUs being tested in CI, if we actually go and do that, the quality of the GPUs will improve. And ironically, you say like it's all this stuff, but that's what, at the end of the day, if you're thinking about 5-10 years out, that's what's going to make your company money. PR, sure, you can get like a little win today, but nobody's gonna care about that. Look, there's one business model that I can respect. The one business model I can respect is you make little boxes that costs you less than you sell them for, right? And you make money. You make little boxes, right? So I actually respect AMD's business model, but they should focus on that business model. Make a little box for less than you sell it for. This is a wonderful business model. I think the biggest thing that these companies all get wrong today is that they believe that they can influence the narrative. And you know what? In 1980s, this was probably true. Right? If you go back before the internet, it was probably true. If you go back then, PR probably mattered. But today, the internet is so good at finding out truth. Not everybody on the internet, but most, like people who really try on the internet. It's really easy to get to truth if you want. So stop trying to lie. Stop trying to spin it. You can't. And I love that. I love that about some of these, like, say what you want about like the cancellations and stuff, but like the people who embrace it, people who are just like, yeah, I did that, I didn't do that, here's the truth, man, come out much better than the people who try to spin it. Don't spin. Just tell the truth. Is this so hard? Yeah. Perception is not reality. I'm sorry. Your perception can remain reality longer than you can remain solvent. Yes, but things are accelerating. People go bankrupt real fast right now. The internet's good at convincing people of lies too. Yeah, I mean it is. But on the whole, the trending is towards truth. It's not, everything is give and take, but you just look at all the revolutions in communication technology, and sure, you get new forms of propaganda and you get new ridiculousness, but for the most part, it just makes it easier to find information. If you guys have never read this is one of my favorite. Also, another thing, if you guys haven't read these basic things, these basic things have like. We have a someone helping out with ops at TinyGrad, and he said, why don't you write your, I talk a lot about how I do for the culture. Don't, do this work for the culture. Don't do this for money, for whatever. Do it to change culture, right? So he's like, you talk a lot about culture. Why don't you write up what your culture is? And I don't have to write it up. People have already done it for me. I didn't invent this culture. I just took it from, it's old school hacker culture. The world is full of fascinating problems waiting to be solved. No problem should ever have to be solved twice. Boredom and drudgery are evil. Freedom is good. Attitude is no substitute for competence.